Hi, this is Keith from the Property Upgrader. In today's video, I'll be talking about a highly anticipated EC launch in 2025, which is located in Tampines North, right? So the EC's name is Aurelle, right? So I've prepared quite a lot of information, good information that I'd like to share with everybody. So let's get into what I have for you. Okay, so 4 key takeaway. The first one will be the main highlights of Aurelle EC. All right, so I'll be just touching on the more important stuff like capital gain, what is the upcoming potential, and all this. All right, then second one will be the performance of the nearby past ECs in Tampines itself. So every time when we buy any property, it will be good to understand how was the performance of the past ECs in this region. And then the third one, which is very important, will be the price gap. Right, so I'll be showing you the price gap between the private new launches versus the new EC launches in the past 18 years. How was the movement like? How was the gap like 18 years versus today? And then I will also let you know why is it so important that everybody must understand this. Okay, and then lastly will be the number of BTO clusters at this location and also the HDB resale prices, which is around Tampines North, right? Because Tampines North is quite a new town, a lot of people are still not very aware of what's going on over there, so I will touch on this shortly later. Okay, so number one, it will be talking about the main highlights of Aurelle. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is convenience. Okay, so some of you all may not know where this location is. So I'll be just drawing over here. So Aurelle will be, okay, so just to, first thing first, okay, Tampines Central, where the main Tampines MRT, and then, the bus interchange, and then the malls are all over here. All right, so this is the Tampines that most of us are very familiar with. But then for Aurelle, it will be slightly to the north, all right, which is the Tampines North area. I would say a very new township for Tampines itself. And then some of you all may be familiar with IKEA, the Courts, and the Giant, which is along the TPE. Right, so Aurelle will be here. And then what is it about convenience is Tampines North MRT station is just right beside this EC. And as we all know, it's pretty rare for an EC to be just right beside an MRT station. And then not only the MRT station, there is also an integrated mall, which is a bus interchange, maybe 4 to 6 levels of retail, commercial, just right beside this EC. Right, so this gives you the convenience of your necessity, your groceries, your shopping. And then when it comes to the commutation, your transportation, the MRT is just right beside. And then if you're talking about primary school, there's also Elias Park Primary School, which is within 1 km. This is not those really top 10, top 20 primary schools, but based on schooler.com, this school has a rating of 79, which is not that bad. Right, so based on my experience, right, for primary schools, they are ranking probably 40 to 80. Every year, the take-up rate is very healthy, right? So it is important that you have a decent primary school within 1 km. Okay, so practically what I covered just now is all the necessity that a lot of buyers are looking at, like your groceries, your amenities, your childcare, your primary school, your MRT station, your bus interchange. So practically I'll just go back. So practically for Aurelle, you have all this all within minutes of walk. Right, so in terms of your own stay, you will get to enjoy the convenience, and next time when you want to exit, when you want to sell off this property, you will not have major issues, because these are generally the checklist that we always say that resale buyers are looking at. Okay, right, so next thing will be the huge capital gain upside that you'll be looking at if you were to go into this EC in Tampines North. Right, so like I say, I'm just going to be repeating a bit. So this is Aurelle over here, and the Tampines North MRT is just right beside. And then I will be showing you some data in the next few slides to let you see exactly what is the advantage of an EC being just very near to an MRT station. And on top of that, like I mentioned, we have this integrated project over here which again gives you the luxury of your bus interchange, your shopping, your groceries, and all this convenience, right? And then on top of that, right, this project over here is an integrated, which means that there are condos above this project itself. So it is not just a shopping mall, all right? It is a bus interchange with shopping mall, and then on top of this shopping mall will be condominiums, private condominiums. It's not EC, right? So what this means is that based on what we have worked out, the project, the condominiums in this project will be probably selling around 2,200 PSF to 2,400 PSF on average, right? So the pricing for this project is not out yet, so I don't want to speculate, and I also don't want to assure you anything, but this is just a price range that we are looking at. And why is this important for you is because for Aurelle, it's going to be probably again a range of around 1,006 to 1,007 PSF. All right. So again, why is this important for anybody to know? Is because imagine today a non-citizen, all right, somebody who is not eligible to buy an EC, right? So if let's say they really like this area, so they go into this project at 2002 to 2004 PSF as an estimation. When they want to exit this property, they'll be probably looking at around 20%, right? That's a very normal average exit profit margin that a lot of buyers are looking at, 20%. So they will be looking to exit probably around 2008 to 3000, okay, in around 3 to 5 years time. But the thing is that for Aurelle, if let's say you were to go into this EC, your entering price is only 1,006 to 1,007, which means that in 8 years time, so why am I saying 8 years? It's because EC usually take 3 years to construct, and then you have the 5 years MOP period where you have to stay in the EC itself before you can sell to locals and PR. Semi-privatized in 5 years, fully privatized in 10 years. Right? So in 8 years time, what is the exit PSF that you'll be looking at? If let's say we are being very conservative, you go in at around 1,006, 1,007, and then in 8 years time, we will just exit, let's say, their entry price. Okay, the entry price that they are entering into now, which is, let's say, 2,300 PSF. What is the capital gain that you'll be looking at? So the difference between your entering price and your exit price, probably around 600 PSF. And to put it very simply, if you were to buy a 1,000 square feet unit, this will give you a very comfortable capital gain of 600,000. Right. So whatever I'm saying here, I just want to emphasize, I'm not promising anything. I'm not saying that you definitely will be getting 600K of profit, but based on the market condition now, based on the price point that private buyers are paying in 2025 versus the price you're paying for an EC in 2025, and in 8 years time, 2033, it is very feasible that you will be able to exit at an entry price which is 8 years ago. All right, so this is why I mentioned, you have this development over here, which gives you a very, very strong benchmarking in terms of pricing. And this will give you a very strong cushion for you to exit with a very good capital gain going forward. All right. So like I said, I pull out 2 ECs, past ECs, one in Punggol and one in Buangkok, for you to see the number. Right, so this is Punggol MRT, and there's this EC called Privé, right? And then I pull out the data from Edge Property, a portal whereby we have all the data. And in 12 years' time, right, this project launched around 2011, completed in 2013, and in today's market, it is selling at around 1,515 PSF. Right, and then this translates to 118% capital gain, which is very, very good. Okay, and why am I picking this EC? Is because this is the EC that's nearest to the Punggol MRT in Punggol itself. it is also one of the earliest EC to launch in Punggol, right? So remember just now I say Aurelle being right beside the MRT and also enjoying the convenience of the mall. This Privé has similar characteristics to Aurelle. And then the next one will be Esperina at Buangkok. So Buangkok MRT is over here, and this is Esperina, right? Same thing, the walking distance is just probably around 300 plus meter nearby. And as you all know, there's this Sengkang Grand mall, which is just completed. Okay, so last time, Sengkang Grand, this mall, if any one of you all is aware, is only completed like last year, right? But the thing is that for Esperina, even before Sengkang Grand was completed, it was already enjoy very, very good capital gain. So launched around the same time, around 2011. Okay, at that point in time, Buangkok wasn't a first choice location for a lot of buyers. But look at the profit that they have until today. They are selling around 1,617 PSF, 110% capital gain, 292 meters to Buangkok MRT, which again is similar to Aurelle characteristics. Okay, and then the third thing that I'm going to talk about for the main highlight of Aurelle is future plan. Okay, so it's important because as we know, government land is being sold to developers, and then with wage increase, with labor cost increase, with material cost increasing, it is natural that the pricing of future launch will be always slightly higher than the ones launching now. All right, so what are the future plots at this area that are still available for future projects or even BTOs or any residential? So these are the red circles that I've highlighted. So where's Aurelle? Aurelle is right over here. All right, and then just right beside us, there's this plot over here, and opposite there's number 2, number 3, and also 3 yellow plots for future developments. Okay, so again, the thing is that now you're entering at around 1,006, 1,007, for example. And then this project over here, like I mentioned just now, probably they are entering average around 2002, 2004, right? So this is just an estimate again. So the thing is that if let's say there are future developments at this location, naturally the pricing will be slightly higher. Okay, so that is how the trend is. And with all these upcoming future, be it condominiums or BTOs coming in, it will just push the price up and give you a better cushion. Okay, so this is important that there are still land to be developed at Tampines North itself. And then there's one more EC, which is over here. So if you are thinking, how about I wait for the next EC at this location? I mean, if let's say you are an East person, you like staying in Tampines, Pasir Ris area, yes, there's one more, but it is near the Pasir Ris, the Wild Wet area. Okay, so at this location, the nearest MRT will be Pasir Ris. Okay, so you can see the distance. For the MRT is over here and Aurelle is over here. It's just right beside. And then for this one, it's not so near. All right, but of course they still enjoy this big mall over here at Pasir Ris. But the thing is that in terms of convenience wise, and then in terms of pricing wise, because we know the break even of this EC also, it will be priced higher than Aurelle. So practically by waiting, you'll be probably looking towards a project which does not give you that much of a convenience, and secondly, the pricing will be higher. Right? So again, being a buyer, being an upgrader, this is good information for you. Second thing that I'll be touching on will be the performance of the nearby past ECs in Tampines. Always important for all property buyers to understand the demand and supply for any locations that you are buying. Right? So let me just show you how is it like in Tampines itself. So again, I did a search. This is Tampines Mall, Tampines MRT, the central area. And then I took a 2 km radius, all right, which covers nicely the whole Tampines area. And I just look at EC, right, apple to apple comparison. And this is the list of the 8 past ECs in Tampines. Okay, and first thing I want you to take a look is the highest PSF transacted for this 8 EC. The Tampines Trillion it may be surprising, a bit shocking to some of y'all. All right, so the max PSF that were being transacted at Tampines Trillion is already at 1,735 PSF. Right, City Life at Tampines 1654. All right, and then Tenet, okay, which is a new EC which was launched probably around 2-3 years ago. It was transacted highest 1651. Okay, so we must understand that is how the market is moving. A lot of resale buyers, because probably they want to move into the unit faster, they are already willing to pay this type of PSF for a resale condo which is around 10 years old, 9 years old. Okay, so which is why just now I was saying, you getting into Aurelle at around 1,006, 1,007 PSF, a brand new condo, and in 8 years time, when you are ready to sell your condo, your EC, at 5 years old, all these project will be already around 18 to 20 years old. That is a big gap. All right, so your 5 years young project versus an 18 years old project. But today in 2025, they are already selling around 1,007, 1,006. Okay, so again, this is important for buyers, upgraders to understand the market, which I feel is more important, than touching on the stack analysis, the floor plan and everything. Those are no doubt important, but again, we can always discuss that when we do a meetup at the show flat. Okay, and then the second thing I want to touch on is not only the price, how is the demand like? Okay, so take a look at the number of units. For Tampines Trillion, there's a total of 670 units, and then City Life 514, and so on and so forth. You can look at the table itself. But look at the sales volume, 922. What this means is that on launch day or during the launch until the construction is completed for this project, everybody, we assume all units were sold, 670 units or so. But then look at the sales volume in these past 10 years. It's already 922, which means that half of these buyers have already changed hands. They have already sold their EC and move on to probably the next EC or another upgrading plan or whatever. And then if you look at City Life, 514, same thing, 600 over, which means that a good 100 over, 20% of these first-time buyers over here have already sold their unit. And if you look at Tenet, of course, a brand new project which doesn't have resale yet, but if you look down the list, Arc at Tampines, Eden, Simei Green, Pinevale, these are the slightly older projects, and look at their transaction, 800, 800, 1,002, 580. So like Simei Green, a 26 years project, 600 units, 1,002 transaction. Practically, it means that everybody here has probably moved on. Right, so of course there are some units, second seller, third seller, right? But generally speaking, most of these first timers have already sold their unit. And what is this telling us is the movement, the purchase, the supply and demand in this whole Tampines region itself is very healthy. You see people entering, and you see that people are moving in and out of Tampines. The demand for resale is high. And then when you as a buyer want to put up your unit to sell in the open market, it is easy for you to exit with a good profit. And again, coming back on the PSF, good demand, good exit pricing. Okay, so again, Tampines, as we all know, is always a very vibrant, a very popular town. But again, knowing data will give you an upper hand and give you a more clearer picture of how the town is performing. Okay, so I put it in this very nice graphic for you to see even easier. So Aurelle is over here. Okay, I start off with the older projects first, right? The Pinevale, Eden at Tampines, Simei Green. All these are 25, 26 years old project. Okay, so capital gain wise, definitely, of course, 127 for Pinevale, 175 for Eden, and then 176 for Simei Green. All these are expected because they bought this property so long ago. Okay, but the thing is that look at their distance to MRT. Okay, so for Pinevale, 1.17 km. Is it near? Not really. Okay, Eden at Tampines, 537, walkable, yes. Simei Green, right, is the nearest out of all the old ECs in Tampines. Okay, but again, it is more to the Simei side, right? So the Tampines area is over here. Okay, so it is the nearest one if we consider Simei to be in this comparison. Okay, so next batch will be the Tampines Trillion, Arc at Tampines, and City Life. So you can see the location of Tampines Trillion and City Life over here, 504, 594 meters to Tampines MRT. And Arc at Tampines, 1.27 km to Tampines MRT. So are they exactly very near to the MRT? Not really. Okay, so Tampines Trillion and City Life, of course, walkable, but not right beside. But is this really very important? No, because you look at Tampines Trillion, 10 years old, City Life, 9 years old, Arc at Tampines, 11 years old. But how was their performance? 111%, 98%, 91% capital gain. Again, this is telling us the very strong demand for a resale condo at Tampines itself. And then look at the next two, which is Park Central Residences. This is an EC which was launched around 2019-2020. Now the buyers are collecting their keys, and just by collecting their keys, that means the project constructed finish. They still have to stay there for another 5 years before they can officially legally sell their property to locals or PR. But as of today, they are already 31% up, okay, capital gain. And look at the distance to MRT, 1.38 km. Right, so this is how the pricing is like. And Tenet, just right beside Aurelle, already 20% gain. Okay, so this is just right beside, 500 meter, based on Google Map. And Aurelle being nearer to the MRT, that is the reason why I have very strong confidence that for Aurelle, it will be a very strong project with strong attributes that will give you the convenience and also the capital gain upside when you eventually exit from this property. So overall, you can take a look for Tampines. In this infographic itself, it is very clear, be it near or far to the MRT, the demand for a resale unit at this area has always been high. And imagine with Aurelle being the project which is nearest to the MRT station in the whole of Tampines, it will give you more advantage when it comes to the resale market. Okay, so I've got all these tables to show you the performance. I will just go through Simei Green, all right? Then I won't be going through individually. You can pause the video at each of this project, and then you can look at more details yourself if you want. Right, so for Simei Green, TOP 1999, 26 years old. So back in so long ago, 1997, it was launched around just 400 over PSF. Right, but at that time, it is still very expensive. Okay, at any point in time, new ECs will always be all-time high price. This is something that a lot of buyers have to understand. All right, so come to today, 176% capital gain. Fantastic, right? So again, I put all these charts over here so that you can look at its performance over the years. Okay, Eden at Tampines, Arc at Tampines, Tampines Trillion, City Life, Park Central Residences, and Tenet. Okay, so like I say, you can pause the video and take a look at these charts yourself. The third topic that I'm going to talk about, which I feel is the most important, is the price gap of the new private launches versus the new ECs. So in this comparison, I'll only be looking at those new private launches that are at the outer region of Singapore. We call it the OCR, right? Because ECs are generally always around the outer region, very rarely around the city fringe, right? So to make an apple-to-apple comparison, I'll only be comparing the outer region. Okay, so back in 2007, which is all the way back long time ago, when private was launched at 651 PSF, EC was sold at 494 PSF. It may seem super cheap now, but don't forget, any point in time when a new project is launched in 2007, for example, it is at an all-time high price at that point in time, right? So, but what are we looking at is the price gap of the 651 versus 494. So take for example, if that point in time I were to buy a private at 651, EC buyers will be buying a similar product 31.7% cheaper than what I'm paying for, right? So which is why I mentioned time and again, like for EC, every time you are able to buy an EC, right, you're practically having a 30% discount versus what the private buyers are paying. And this gives you a very comfortable cushion than what the private buyers are paying at. Okay, so going forward, 2021, what is the pricing like? For private, 1113 and EC 704. And at that point in time, 2012, no, so if some of you all are aware, 2012, 2013 is when our Singapore market was at its previous peak, right? So the gap was 58.1%. So again, what this means is, for example, today I were to buy a private at 1113 PSF and you buying an EC at 704, similar product, but you are paying 58% lower than the price that I'm paying for. Okay, again, what this means is eventually when you and me put our unit in the market for resale, you are able to sell your property off at a much lower price, but yet your profit margin and my profit margin is around the same. Okay, so this gives you safety, this gives you a very good entry price and easy to exit. Okay, and then 2015, so you can see the price slowly creeping up. Okay, so 2015 private at 1241 and EC at 824, 50%. Okay, so you can see the consistency. Just now, in 2007, when Singapore was not so advanced yet, the price gap was around 20%. And then when it comes to 2012, 2013, where the property prices were at its previous peak, around 58%. That was the largest price gap between a new private and a new EC in the whole history of these 18 years. 2015, slightly closer to 50%. And then going to 2019, where some of your more recent, the Piermont Grand, the Park Canberra, the Ola, the Park Central, this batch of launches that when EC crosses the 1000 PSF mark, right? So that was a time where a lot of buyers they cannot accept, that EC is selling above 1000 PSF. But the thing is that we have to understand, when EC was above 1000, private is already around 1400, and the price gap actually reduced at that point in time to 26.5%. Okay, so in 2019, there were a lot of buyers contemplating whether should they enter an EC or not, which I can fully understand why. It doesn't seem so attractive in 2019, which is why a lot of buyers actually went for private during that period of time. But fast forward to 2023, again, do take note, the price gap widened again. Okay, that means the private market is going at a faster pace versus the EC, which again makes EC very attractive again. And today, what is the difference? OCR new launches are already at 2,300 plus PSF, and EC today is around 1,500, 1,600 PSF. And what is the percentage? 52.3%. Right, so again, we are back to this 50% price gap, which makes it very safe, a very nice entry price for EC buyers to enter into the private market, right? So when the price gap is big, it gives you a better entry price and it translates to a better safety net and higher capital gain in future. Right, so this is again something that you have to understand. And the more important thing that I feel that most buyers have to understand is that any point in time, the prices that you are paying for a new private or a new EC will definitely be at its highest. Right, so like just now we were looking at 2023, 1004, just very recent. Okay, a lot of buyers are saying, wow, so high, how to buy? But now we come to 2025. It's already at 1,500 and 1,600, 1,700. And going forward, based on the land price of the future plots of land that are being sold, and also because of the rising cost of the labor, the materials and everything, we can only foresee that if the market stays constant, the market is still performing, prices will only continue to go up. All right. So what does this tells us? The price gap that I'm talking about so much in this topic. So private segment is moving faster than new EC since 2019. So remember just now I was saying 2019, the percentage is only about 20, the price gap is only about 25%. But come to 2025, it widens up to 50% again, which makes EC very attractive in terms of the pricing, the quantum. And with a price gap being wider, it gives you the price opportunity. A private buyer may have to pay probably near 2 million to get a 3-bedder unit. But for EC, if let's say you go for a similar size unit, you can probably get a unit around 1.4 to 1.5 million. It is a very big difference of a 500 to 600,000 difference. And this translates to affordability. All right, so the thing is that buying a property at 1.5 versus 2 million is a very, very big difference. And when you're able to go in at 1.5 versus private buyers having to enter the market at 2 million, this gives you the cushion that I talk about, the safe entry price, the discount that you're able to get into a similar product but at a much lower quantum. Last of all, when it comes to exit, being able to go into a property at a lower pricing will make it so that it's easy for you to exit. It may be a bit too technical for some of y'all over here, but if let's say you do not really catch it, do watch this segment again, because I do feel that it's very important that you understand that the entire market is moving. Right? It's not just that ECs, wow, is hitting 1,006, 1,007, and you feel that wow, the prices are getting too high. But think about it, not only is EC prices moving, the private is moving, as well as our HDB. Even our BTO's prices are no longer what they were 10 years ago. And every day, every time when we see the papers today, we read the news online, we are seeing more and more $1 million HDB. Now it's no longer like a wild thing that when we see $1 million. Like we have saw HDB transacting at 1.4 million, 1.5 million. So even HDBs are moving uptrend. Okay, so it is only natural for the entire property industry, the prices, to be moving in tandem. Right, so this is again something which is really important that I feel that all property buyers in Singapore should know. Okay, so now coming to a very simple topic. The fourth topic that I'm going to talk about will be the BTO clusters in Tampines North. All right, so again, this points to how you can exit easier because of how much the HDB people are selling their HDB for. Okay, so in Tampines North, okay, so I put it somewhere around here, the pin, and then the radius of 1 km. This is the Tampines North area. Okay, so if we were to look, okay, the Tampines Central area will be further down. So this is the newer Tampines North, and as of now, there are only 3 main clusters which has hit their MOP and they are selling in the open market, in the resale market. Okay, still this plot over here is around 10 years, and this plot over here are only 5 years old. And how much are the 4-room and 5-room owners selling? Okay, so again, I put it in this very easy to see infographic. Tampines Greenview and Greenwith here. Aurelle is over here, and then the Tampines MRT is over here. And then just now the integrated mall, the bus interchange, everything will be over here. So Tampines Greenview and Greenwith, 4-room, and in this area is already 815, hit 815. And 5-room hit 948,000 resale. Okay, people are paying this type of prices in Tampines North at this type of prices. Okay, and then Tampines Greenwich, 4-room 820, 5-room 960. So again, why is this important? It's because imagine people are already accepting this type of prices for resale HDB. This comes back to the topic I mentioned just now. We have to understand the prices are already at this type of level. And being able to enter into a brand new EC at 1,006, 1,007, a 50% cushion versus what people are paying for a new OCR private project it gives you the assurance that you are definitely not overpaying. And this is also the reason why I mentioned being able to enter at such pricing will give you the ease of exit in future. Okay, so what about 10 years old estate across the road? Tampines Greenleaf, 4 room 825, 5 room 980. Okay, so even though it is 10 years old, you can see the demand, all right, in Tampines itself. Okay, and then what is upcoming? We have 3 plots over here: Tampines Green Glen, Green Crest, and Green Glade. Okay, on the opposite side. And we have 1 plot with 2 BTO clusters, Green Deal and Green Foliage, beside us. And we have another 2 huge plot, Tampines Green Court and Green Vines, all just right beside Aurelle. Okay, all these BTOs are still within their 5 years MOP period. That means they cannot sell yet. Okay, and then the thing is that eventually when they are able to sell, they will be looking to sell at around the same price that I went through just now. And this gives all these resale buyers the financial capability to upgrade to a condo if they want. Okay, of course, it is also dependent on their income status and their financial capabilities, right? But this profit that they are getting from the HDB BTO gives them this nice cushion for them to upgrade into probably Aurelle, Tanner, Park Central, or the ECs in Tampines itself. So again, points to the ease of you being able to exit. Tampines Greenwich, one more over here, right? So you can see this whole Tampines North area is really very, very young. Okay, so this is the 5 years that I showed you the last slide, also 5 years. So with existing 3 main BTO clusters and upcoming 8 more BTO clusters meeting MOP, and with more BTOs coming up in Pasir Ris, in Tampines, the HDB upgraders versus the resale private supplier. Remember just now I was saying the number of past ECs in Tampines, there's only 8 projects. With Aurelle, there's only 9. Okay, so with so many HDB upgraders versus the 9 projects in Tampines EC, makes it easy for us to exit. Alright, so that's all I want to share in this video, the more important stuff that I feel that buyers should be aware of. I'll just do a very quick summary over here. So the key reasons why you should look at Aurelle EC is because this is going to be the EC which has the nearest walking distance to an MRT station in Tampines. Right, just now I was saying, one of the project in Simei, which is around 300 meters. But in Tampines itself, Aurelle is going to be the nearest to the MRT station. Gives you an advantage, MRT advantage, I would say, when it comes to resale. Because a lot of HDB upgraders, a lot of home buyers, they always put MRT as the top priority when buying any resale property. And this is going to be the first harmonization EC in Tampines. So some of you all may not know what harmonization is, alright? So to put it very simply, is that you are no longer paying for your aircon latch. Okay, so like previous, like Tenet, the previous Park Central, when the buyers buy the unit, they are still paying for the aircon latch, right? So, but for now, after the change of some ruling, okay, I don't want to make it too complicated. So to put it simply is that whenever you are buying a new project now under the harmonization, you are only paying for usable space. This gives you a price advantage. Okay, so I can explain this more to you if let's say we do have a meetup. Okay, and then a proven huge capital gain, comparable. Remember just now I was saying Privé at Punggol, and then Esperina Residences at Buangkok. Being near to MRT, it gives you a very, very huge advantage when it comes to capital gain. Number 4, Tampines Trillion City Life at Tampines. They have already crossed 1,006, 1,007 PSF, even though they are already 10 years old. Currently, people are already willing to pay this type of PSF for a resale unit in Tampines. And then the next EC in Pasir Ris, near the Wild Wild Wet, the location to me not that fantastic, not so convenient, but yet being priced higher. Okay, and then the price gap. Okay, so this is the part that I feel is really important. The price gap of the new private launches currently in the market versus the new ECs. Affordability. With new ECs getting higher, and with our income ceiling, the HDB rules not adjusting that much, it means that the longer you hold off your purchase, the higher the amount of cash you may need for the purchase. And this may be something that is really important for some buyers. Okay, the entry price and then your eligibility next year. Okay, so some of our buyers, they always say, I can wait for the next EC, but we never know whether your income will be substantially increased next year or not, because there's always an income ceiling for new ECs capped at 16,000. So we do have some clients, they do really well next year, and then somehow they become the sandwich class. They earn the household incomes around 18,000 to 20,000. It makes it difficult because at this type of income level, it is very difficult for you to upgrade from your HDB to a full private condo. There are things like ABSD that you have to handle, and it doesn't make the transition that smooth. Alright, so these are things that are important that you should be aware of. It's super easy to exit, especially for Aurelle, because it's just right beside this integrated project. And with the prices these buyers are going to be paying for this private development, it will make it easy for Aurelle buyers to exit in future. Okay, so that's all I have for Aurelle. So whatever I'm going to talk about next is just some good to know information. So if you are somebody who has just entered the market, you're just looking around, all this may be good information for you. All right, so you may not know for new ECs, what are the key advantage. If let's say today you are a HDB upgrader, what is the key advantage of you upgrading to an EC versus upgrading to a new private launch? Okay, so you do not have to sell HDB now. Okay, which means that you can happily book this Aurelle EC or any other EC, and being able to book an EC and not selling your HDB, you also do not have to pay any ABSD. Right, this is a very huge difference. It's because if today you are going to buy a new private launch, the thing is that you have to pay ABSD upfront first. And then depending on eligibility, after you sell a HDB later on, based on certain conditions you have to meet, then you can take back this ABSD from IRAS. Right, so all these details I'll not be touching on so deeply. Okay, but this is something that is really good for upgraders because you do not have to shift around, you do not have to sell HDB now, you can always do it later. And then upgrading to a private sector in a very safe manner. Like I say, the entry price, the discount versus the price gap versus the private segment. All in all, upgrading to an EC is a much more smoother transition into the resale market. Right, and then your current HDB, even though you do not have to sell now, there's something we call a bridging loan that can help to finance the purchase. So again, talk to us and then let me give you more information on this. Okay, and then what can we do to assist and value add to you? Right, so eligibility assessment. All right, this is important because EC is part HDB, part private. So you must always be eligible before you can proceed to book a unit. And then on our side, we will always make sure that we check through everything to ensure that your purchase will be a smooth one. Financial and loan assessment. I will be working out for you exactly how much loan you can get, how much bridging loan you can get from your current HDB, the amount of CPF that you can use, and then down to the exact amount of cash that you need. And then also eventually 3 to 4 years later, when the EC is completed and you sell your HDB, how much cash and CPF will come back. And then the monthly mortgage of your EC, how much, all these numbers, I'll be doing it for you, and then you can access based on your risk appetite and your financial status. Okay, this is the risk assessment that I talk about. And then of course, like I say, in this video today, I have not touched on the site plan, I have not touched on the floor plans, the facing, and then strategies like how you can choose the right unit, the right floor level, so that it makes it even easier for you to exit in future with a better capital gain. Right, so if you have a chance to meet up at the show flat or we can make an appointment, I will be happy to share more information on this with you. And then appeals, right? So what if your income is more than 16,000? For example, if let's say you love Aurelle so much, you grew up in Tampines, but you are just 4.5 years in your current HDB. That means you haven't hit your 5 years MOP. Are you able to apply? Right, so with all these appeals, talk to us and let us give you good solutions, right? Okay, so this comes to the end of this video. For Aurelle EC, they will be previewing probably around 15 or 22nd Feb. As of now, the recording of this video, developer hasn't give us any confirmation yet. But as and when I have the official information, I will try to put it in the description below. So if you are looking to visit Aurelle, take a look at the show flat or any other ECs in Singapore, you can just give us a call and we can book an appointment with you. Alright, so if you like what I have shared for you, I hope that with all this sharing of this data and all this analysis that I've done for Aurelle, it has been beneficial to you and gives you a better understanding of the property segment in Singapore. Right, so if you found it useful, do like and subscribe to our channel and share all this good information with your friends and relatives. If you are looking to buy your first property, or let's say you are a HDB upgrader looking to sell and let's say buy a private, exploring your option, feel free to book an appointment with us and I'll be happy to go through with you your options to let you know the pros and cons of all the different options that you may have. Okay, Ken. So I'm Keith from the Property Upgrader. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you in our next one. All right, see you. Bye-bye.